Thank you, Pastor. It's always critical to keep a biblical outlook at all times in life, right? Yeah. But there's personal too. And you sent Susie and I 20 years ago to be with these people. They're as much in our heart as you are. And you've seen TV. The attacks came from the south up through Crimea and Moldova. That area is totally desolate, so that army will move up swiftly to the major cities, and that's what they want, to squeeze them out in the major cities. They came from the east. That's where all the minerals and all the wealth of Ukraine is. And then they came from the north because that was closest to the major cities. The people that I've talked to in the far west, everything is relatively calm, except they have bombed every airport in the country. There's not one left that they haven't tried to destroy. And the people are humanly desperate. They don't have any ability, as you know, to stand up against a country that powerful. And yet God has given them a will. He's given them hope. They're lovely people. The Ukrainian people are lovely people. They're strong people. They're very tough people. Also, keep your mind on the fact that they're bordered by a lot of countries that Susie and I serve in too, Romania, Poland. There's already 19,000 refugees in Romania. A lot of them will end up in our churches, okay? Our pastors, our people will take them in, and they'll love them and care for them. So it's not just there, but I wanted you to know that Ukraine is considered the strongest evangelical community in all of Europe, all right? You can think of every country in Europe. They are the strongest evangelical community. They have the best reputation with their government because in 2014, when the communists planted a devious leader in their country, there was what they called the Orange Revolution. Hundreds of thousands of people flooded Independence Square and stayed there for 2 months. And in the middle of those people were our pastors and our people. And they were praying and fasting every day. And they'd get up from praying and fasting and they'd take tea and bread to those hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. They became like Christ in the midst of a Christless community that had no hope. And because of that, they gained a reputation with the government that as an evangelical body of believers, they were the most trusted. And a survey just recently showed that only the military of their country ranks above the church in what is most trusted in the country of Romania. Can you let that settle deep into your heart? The church is trusted by the people of that country. Could we say that about our church? Now, when the rumors of the war started to come, what would the pastors, what would the people do? That was the question that faced them, right? They're like you, sitting there with your children. And one letter that I got through a friend from a pastor, 4 girls, all right? One an older teen and the other 3 younger. He said, pack your bags. And every day, as they heard the rumors, they'd say, where are we going, Daddy? And he said, I started to get irritated with myself. And my wife and I went away and we prayed and we prayed. And we came back and we said, girls, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay here and we're going to serve the Ukrainian people. And we're going to serve as a family of people. And so they fasted and prayed with their church family for 7 straight days and 7 straight nights. And at the end of that time, they stepped forward with peace and power in their heart. And they determined that they would be Christ-like in a Christless world of war. And they determined to stay, and so they chose that they would serve people and die serving like Christ, if that was his pleasure for them. And so after fasting and praying, it was interesting. They prepared the basement of their church to be a hospital and to be a bomb shelter. Then they trained their people in medical care, how to stop bleeding, how to put on tourniquets, how to open airways, how to do anything that would treat and help people that were being killed and dying. And then they made teams that they would go in and they would find the people that had been harmed in the buildings that are bombed, the soldiers, whether their own or Russians, and bring them in and care for them. So they trained the people to live lives that would sacrifice themselves. Instead of fleeing and protecting themselves, they would be like Jesus, and they would serve even if it would cost them their life. The government so trusts them that they gave them maps of Kiev. This pastor's in Kiev, and they gave them maps of all the wells in the city because they know they'll lose their entire water system. And so they know where the wells are. This is an old country, right? They have a lot of wells there, but they can sustain themselves with water, sustain the people they rescue with water. But the government trusts the Church of Jesus Christ. Instead of saving their own lives, they've chosen to be like the Savior in a sinful world. Folks, that talks to my heart. I told the guys that we prayed together yesterday, I've taught these people the Bible, but they've taught me how to live like Jesus. They're people of faith. And if there's anything that we need to grab a hold of in this country, is if you're a follower of Jesus, live like Jesus, right? Live like Jesus. So pray for these people. A lot of them will lose their lives, and it'll hurt. They'll leave their babies, they'll leave their wives, like Pastor said. They'll see them again in glory, but it might be terrible here. So let's pray together.